all these rejections from the middle Bollinger Band.
Resistance we're going to need.
If you actually see here, we get a
And we'll look for a healthy higher
I
low.
would not
don't have
be
a
convinced
pullback
to
to
enter
cross
long trade.
Howdy crypto jerks, we're going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, BCH. Daily time frame is continuing to tighten. We're just patiently waiting for a break of this range. And I have been sitting on my hands very patiently without a trade, as my criteria has been break this tightening pattern and I'll be interested in price action. And until then, it's likely going to be too tight and too choppy for me to be interested. So it looks like our new lower high is set on the daily time frame. Again, we've been within this range now for about 8 or 9 days. We have our high of the bull move, low of consolidation, lower high, higher low, lower high, and now we're looking for a higher low to form compared to 36.25. We could stay within this range for another few days, but we are certainly going to see a break from this range likely before the end of this coming weekend. So that's what I'm currently keeping all eyes on. And as I said in the last video, however we break from this tightening equilibrium, this little mini equilibrium here, is going to dictate whether we're heading for the daily inverted head and shoulders that everybody's looking for and continuation up towards 5,000, or whether we're heading back down to our recent low. If it's a bear break, we're looking back down at 3,000. That's a very significant difference, and the odds of what's going to happen will significantly shift based on how we break. So patiently waiting for this clear break on the daily time frame, and a lot of correlations here have the same tightening daily patterns. One that does not is Ethereum. Ethereum was our lead bull, and it got a clear bull break already, but obviously it's going to pull back with Bitcoin and not going to completely disregard that correlation. It can be more bullish, and when you see breaks in correlation, it's due to influxes in volume. So Ethereum breaking bullish compared to everybody else just means that more people obviously were buying Ethereum, and there was more dollar volume coming in for the bulls. So it wasn't the, algos that are tied to these correlations and automated trading that were doing that break. It was additional money on top of that. So with Ethereum, we're now looking for anything above 128.30 to be a higher low to keep the uptrend intact on the daily time frame. And we have plenty of space for the bulls to work with, potentially a daily inside bar. And how we break from that pattern on Bitcoin is going to dictate whether we get a bull break into the 160s and beyond on Ethereum, or whether we lose the daily uptrend and look to consolidate back down into the 120s. So that time frame that daily sideways range for Bitcoin is going to be very important for everybody involved. We're just positioned a little bit different on Ethereum. It's a bullish correlation. It favors the bulls, but that doesn't mean we're not going to pull back if we get a bear break on Bitcoin. So healthy consolidation on Ethereum. Let's now look at a hypothetical trade, as I am not shorting the space. As you know, I'm trading on Coinbase. Don't trust significant funds on other platforms to be able to short, and perfectly fine with that at this point because the stock market volatility is certainly keeping me busy. But let's look back at the hourly time frame. So Ethereum was extremely strong, bouncing off the exponential moving average support on the hourly time frame consistently. And I made this post in the chat room last night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I said ETH bears looking for a loss of the hourly uptrend to indicate 4-hour consolidation, but the bulls are still full control. So when I posted that, we were still at the top of this bull move in the mid 150s, and at that point the 4-hour time frame was very extended. So we know 4-hour consolidation is coming, which led to me making that post. When we lose the hourly uptrend, that's when we're going to see 4-hour consolidation. And here's how it ended up playing out. It was a head and shoulders pattern with our left shoulder. The head was the high. I made the post right about here. Pulled back, but it's still a higher low. Inability to see continuation. That's our right shoulder forming. And then we broke the uptrend line. I shouldn't say the uptrend line. We broke the higher low pattern. So the price level of 150.74 was our hourly higher low established here. The bulls attempted for continuation. They failed to get continuation, and then they came down and broke support. So that's a clear change in trend on the hourly time frame. You can see the spike in bear volume and the big red candlestick is traders and stop losses reacting to that level being broken. We then saw a bounce attempt that did not get back to that break-even point. Let's say you went bearish at 150.74, and with some slippage, maybe you filled at 150.40, let's just say. So you're in at 150.40 in a short position. The bounce gets back to 150.01, doesn't even hit your break-even point, and then we drop down for another leg lower, and here we are in the 145s. So at this point, that trade is up over 3%, between 3 and 4%, and it's very comfortable. You either got your stop loss at break-even, and you're hoping that Bitcoin breaks bearish from that daily sideways pattern because that will give big gains on Ethereum bears if that does follow through. Or you're locking in this, 3 to 4% trade after half a day of trading and moving on to the next trade. So that's just an example of a trade setup where consolidation is due. You look to a shorter term time frame to indicate that the trend is changing and that consolidation is coming, and then you execute the trade based on those criteria. So it's healthy consolidation overall. We look at the 4-hour time frame, and we're losing the exponential support right now, but still absolutely going to form a 4-hour higher low, because the last one that formed was all the way down at 131.49. So anything above 131.49, anything above that's a higher low. The more we pull back here, the more likely a 4-hour equilibrium is going to be, rather than just continuation of this bull move. So pretty significant consolidation at this point. So we will be looking for a bounce to set a lower high on the 4-hour time frame and for things to continue to tighten. And if we compare the 4-hour to Bitcoin, it as well is losing some support levels. So in the last video, I said if we lose the 4-hour uptrend on Bitcoin, that's where we're going to be looking for the daily chart to continue to tighten, and that's what is currently happening. Litecoin on the daily, this is an example where you must be watching what Bitcoin is doing, or it can give you a brutal fake out. If you were, tunnel vision and only looking at Litecoin, we had our high, low, lower high, higher low, and the bull break would have occurred here, 33.53. We broke it by 11 cents. Certainly not a convincing break whatsoever. And, that bull break led to a very quick turnaround where we broke bullish, and that was a peak. We were overbought, and then we very quickly pulled back 3+%. So that's the kind of example where you better be watching Bitcoin and see, okay, Bitcoin did not break bullish. I have to take this with a grain of salt. And of course, seeing that, shorter term time frames were so overextended on that break with the 5 and the 15-minute RSI, both above 70, it maybe, hopefully, would have prevented some people from entering that trade. But at this point, significant consolidation, 4-hour, breaking a couple support levels, and just continuing to tighten the pattern. So now I will consider this a double top, and we're going to look for a higher low on the daily compared to 29.11 to remain in this tightening pattern. And if we see a break of 29.11, it is a clear bear break on the daily time frame that has us looking to 27.48, and then a lack of support down to the $22 low after that level breaks. So still remaining in that pattern as far as I'm concerned, just like Bitcoin is, but got a little bit closer to a bull break than Bitcoin did. XRP daily time frame, same equilibrium. High, low, lower high, higher low, lower high, higher low. We're looking for a higher low compared to 356. Anything above 356 is a higher low. If we lose that level, we're looking down to 338, and the odds will shift back to the bears. So bulls better show up soon, closer to breaking here than we are on some of the other names. 4-hour time frame has pulled back very significantly, losing the 4-hour uptrend, and it's all about 356 as we approach that level. Potential bottom fishing plays, but again, when we get to this point where it's so tight within a tightening range, the volatility drops off, the volume drops off, and it gets to a point where I personally would just rather wait for the break rather than trying to play within the tightening range. When you have a ton of volatility, that's when playing within the tightening ranges is, ideal and can be profitable because there is so much range within those tightening ranges. But then as time draws out and that equilibrium gets tighter and tighter, there's less give in each direction and there's less opportunity in each direction. So patiently waiting for the daily time frames to break. BCH is another one. This is BCH on Coinbase. High, low, top of the bounce, held support, rejected from resistance. So here's one where we had 140.20 support. We held it by $2.50. We had 177.90 resistance. We rejected from it by $2.90. And here we are looking to pull back and form a higher low compared to 144.70. So just a continued tightening range and looking for this break again sometime this weekend. If we form this higher low tonight or tomorrow morning, we'll look to stay in it. Perhaps Saturday we'll get the break. Either way, be paying attention because it can happen at any point at this point, and we will be looking for that to dictate, again, pretty much going to look to dictate the momentum for January 2019 with how this tightening pattern breaks. And of course, we'll need to see the follow through once that break does occur. But that is the event that we are all waiting on in the short term to give some short term direction. So that's where we stand on Bitcoin. Tightening up, hands off. I haven't traded crypto in a week plus as I've been patiently waiting for this pattern to play out. And I hope you all have a good rest of your Thursday. Do some good things out there. Going to be ordering some more tinctures and stuff from that lovely woman who sent me those that I showed you the other day. and I'm going to send those out to some of our members who are interested in some immune boost. And other than that, stock market just took a big hit. Apple down 9%, down as much as 10% today. That's huge, obviously, for such a significant company that hit $1 trillion market cap just earlier in 2018. But pretty much the China trade war coming to a reality, so to speak, where Apple came out and said, hey, you know, the numbers that we guided on for the future, they're a little bit too ambitious. We need to cut those back. We're getting hit harder in China than we anticipated. And so that's really the market realizing, oh yeah, this China trade deal is real, and companies are going to start, I think more companies are going to start guiding down as well. And it's now just a point of fear, recession, a talking point that the talking heads can stick to. And, you know, if Apple, as I've said many times, is the most important stock in the market because it's such heavily weighted in the tech sector. The tech sector is so heavily weighted in the S&P 500. So it just adds further weakness and uncertainty in the market as a whole. And things are interesting in the stock world. Certainly never a dull moment. So thanks again. Do good things. We'll see you tomorrow. Bitcoin's breaking out.